Hey there, this is Erica from Ever Educating, and this channel is teaching tips, tools, ideas, and resources for new college instructors. Last week I focused on ideas for socially distant activities. This week I'm doing the other side of the spectrum, so maybe it's not a worry for you anymore. Here are ideas for team building or community building activities. So as a disclaimer, these activities can be used in the sense of being created by the professor or the facilitator, or being created by the student or the team that's being built here. So you can do it either way. And also, you can just do like straight up fun versions of this, or you can do fun but also educational versions of these activities. So just to make this clear, right? So to begin with, one idea is to have your students or your team do some kind of scavenger hunt. So again, it can just be a straight up fun scavenger hunt that you have them do. Your list of prompts, do the thing. Or it can be educational. If you're teaching something, a certain topic, or you want to teach them about the LMS site or about the campus, then you can have them do a scavenger hunt that's focused on learning that thing or applying that concept. So either or here, but of course the scavenger hunt will be done in groups, in teams, not individually. So that way students get to know each other and they can also achieve the goal of the scavenger hunt, whether it is just becoming friendlier or becoming friendlier while learning something. Now, if you don't want to be doing too much movement, then potentially you could have a jeopardy. And again, it can be fun jeopardy that is done in teams, or it can be class-connected jeopardy, where again, it's about teamwork and getting to know each other, but also about getting points by studying whatever it is you're teaching in your class. So jeopardy works well as a group game, and so this is another way of building that community. So these two are both games. The one is more just sitting down and playing versus more mobile in the scavenger hunt. Though there are digital scavenger hunts that you can do, I was thinking more physically in person, but of course it's up to you to decide that. Now the next two kind of tie together as well. So to start with, potentially you can have the group create a board game. Again, a fun board game or a class concept board game. And in this case, they're designing it themselves, creating it physically, and then potentially presenting it to the class or to the team, like the whole team, if you're breaking them up into small clusters. So this is a way of having them get creative, right? Have them have some fun, kind of get the dynamics of, okay, who's gonna make decisions, how are they gonna split up the work, all of that, but in a fun way, right? It's not just a paper that they're writing together, it's a board game that they're creating. And so you can give them certain guidelines for this, or it can be really open-ended, up to you. And again, it can be, well, do you want the board game to teach something, or do they want it to require knowledge of something in order to win? Is there a certain, prompt that you want to give, or is it just like, hey, have fun, create a board game, here are like the minimum requirements and go for it kind of deal. Now, in a similar vein, you might say like, okay, a board game is a bit too complex, it's going to take a bit too much time. Why don't you do card game instead? So rather than having to figure out a complete game, it's more almost creating like a set of cards, again, fun cards or concept cards for them to do. So it might be, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and if the class is about literature, you're gonna create a card deck for a novel. So you break the students up into different groups and each group is assigned a different novel and now they're in charge of creating cards for that novel. Or maybe you're doing one novel, you might have, okay, we're gonna do this novel. One group is gonna create cards for characters, one group for settings, one group for objects, and so on. And so, I'm thinking like Pokemon games where you have like the cards that have like a certain amount of points and certain moves you can make and leveling up. So it can be that intense, or it can be more like educational. Hey, here's an image of the character, basic stats about them, right? Same for objects, for settings, and so on. So cards rather than a whole board game is another option. And then if you think that creating these things are going to be too much, then potentially you can assign group proposals. So propose a board game, propose a card game, propose a business, propose whatever the case may be, a course, and have the team build that proposal as the activity. Not actually apply it, but just get the design of the thing set in stone as their project. Because all these really help build a team, get into like collaborative dynamics, having to figure out who does what work, right? Making decisions together as a team. All that can be done with all of these. And again, like I said in the beginning here, it can be assigning students to create all this, have them create the scavenger hunt, have them create the Jeopardy game, right? And lead it, have them create the board game, et cetera, or it can be on you. So maybe you create a board game and have students play it, right, for points, maybe extra credit, for example. Or you create the scavenger hunt and have them do it. You lead the Jeopardy game. So there's both sides here that can be done. But I think these are just fun ways that you can get your students or your team to get to know each other and get to practicing their collaborative building skills. But if you want to, you can just make it, rather than just fun, also constructive, educational, based on what you're teaching or what industry that you are in. So these are some ideas if you are able to get close to each other at this point in time and you want to community or team build in your particular situation. So if you found these helpful, please like and let me know. If you have your own ideas, feel free to share in the comments, and click subscribe if you don't want to miss out on any future videos.